good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is, when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. Within our religious community, as practitioners of Orisha lifestyle, we, like I think all religious people, have to make a balance. We have to make the distinction between faith and fantasy. Between faith and fantasy. And before I go into the lesson, what I want to say is making the distinction between faith and fantasy isn't because one cancels the other out. I'm not trying to say that faith eliminates fantasy or fantasy eliminates faith, or one is good and the other is bad. I don't mean it like that. I mean, like, you got a right hand, you got a left hand, you got a right eye and a left eye, you got a right ear and a left ear, right? And they support one another, they complement one another, but you know which one is which. They say put your right hand up, and you know which hand to put up. Okay, so faith is the right hand, and fantasy is the left hand. Let's just say. The reason why I'm saying this is because, and before let me go before I step into it, what I call fantasy is very simple. If you cannot carry out actionable steps to realize your vision, it's a fantasy. If you cannot take steps, actionable steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, to realize what it is that you are praying about, what you are visioning, if you can't make the steps and carry those steps out, you are living a fantasy. And fantasies don't become reality. It doesn't matter how much you say it, how much you pray about it, how many sacrifices you make for it, how much medicine you use to bring it to fruition. If it's a fantasy, it's a fantasy. If you can't act your way into it, then it's never ever going to happen. Okay? And this is something that we don't articulate strongly enough and clearly enough within our religious circles. Religion and spirituality has never ever been enough. It will never ever be enough to transform your life or transform the world. It will never ever be enough. And I'm going to say this also from the perspective of, where I'm coming from. I'm a professional educator and I'm a professional priest. I'm trained in both modalities and I practice both modalities. And I'm going to tell you with total certainty, all the people I've taught and all the people I've counseled and all the people I've trained, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, black, white, Asian, and everything in between, nobody improves just by making prayers. Nobody reaches the front of the line, the top of the heap, right? No one becomes the greatest of the great just by making sacrifices. Nobody. Everybody who achieves greatness in love, in life, in religious pursuits, in money, in health, everyone who achieves true greatness does so through action. They have actionable steps. They're able to see something and they're able to break down that vision into actionable steps that they're going to carry out over the next 24 hours, over the next 7 days, over the next 15 days, over the next 30 days, over the next 365 days, and so on and so forth. Hands down, without question. And if you know of anybody who achieves greatness, who maintains a level of excellence in any dimension of life, just by making prayers, I want you to identify that person to me. But I'm going to tell you that doesn't exist. You know it doesn't exist. Every grown-up knows it's impossible. Okay? That's why we train our children to brush their teeth in the morning and comb their hair and take a bath and make their beds and get dressed and take care of themselves, because we know that these are the habits that are associated with them being able to thrive and have, enjoyable lives. All right, so it's really practical. What I'm saying to you is something that you already know, something you've already lived. You've reached adulthood. You know how you've gotten here. or you should know how you've gotten here. It's about action. It's about action. And if you can't do it, it's a fantasy. So with that in mind, this is what I want to say. When we practice Orisha lifestyle, we have the benefit of being able to pour our highest aspirations, our loftiest dreams, our deepest hopes into our prayers, and we're able to get responses from the divinities, from the ancestors, from our own destiny through Ifa. If you can, whatever you dream of, whatever you envision, you can ask, and Ifa will give you a response. And then Ifa is going to, in that response, tell you what you need to do spiritually to align yourself with your destiny as you pursue that vision. Ifa is going to tell you, in terms of your spiritual wellness, these are the actions that you need to carry out. If you can't do those things, then you can't have what Ifa says. If you can't keep the taboos that Ifa says, then you're going to undermine or contradict what you say you prayed for. If you can't carry out the sacrifice that Ifa says that's necessary in order for you to align all of the elements in your spiritual environment, then likewise, it's not going to happen. Okay, so even Ifa reinforces what I'm telling you right now, which is your actions are what are going to make your vision a reality. But independently of Ifa, independent of any kind of a religious practice or reality, this exact same thing is true. You have to be willing and able to carry out specific kinds of actions. And that's what's going to move you from where you are to where you want to be. That's what's going to take you from envisioning something, hoping for something, praying for something, and bit by bit by bit, making that vision a reality. Okay? And that is the difference between faith and fantasy. Faith tells you that there are elements and influences that you cannot see, that you cannot detect, that you cannot discern, but they are real. There are things that you do in this world, even though the effect that they create will manifest in another world. And when they manifest in that other world, then that will reflect in this world at a certain point. That's faith. That's faith. Fantasy is, I can envision something and do nothing, and that something will still manifest. That is fantasy. I can hope and pray and sacrifice for all good things in life: health, wealth, love, long life, family, progress, victory. I can hope and pray for all those things. And I can keep doing everything that I've been doing. I can keep being the way I have always been, but I can expect that things are going to still come out the way I want them to. That is a fantasy. Okay? And that's where I want you to make the distinction. Be prepared to act. Be prepared to be differently in order to create the desired outcomes. So that's the lesson for today. I hope and pray that it's meaningful and makes a contribution to your ability to carry out your dreams and manifest your vision for life. I look forward to getting your feedback and seeing the results of you actually applying the lesson, right? I want to challenge you in that regard. Try it out. Try it out. Try and look at all of the visions that you have for your life and start breaking them down into 1 year. How does that vision look? What can you do in the next 365 days to realize that vision. What can you do in 9 months, in 6 months, in 3 months? What can you do in 30 days? What can you do in 15 days? What can you do in 7 days? What can you do in the next 24 hours to make that vision a reality? Shift your prayers in that way, and I guarantee you, you're going to fully understand the difference between faith and fantasy, and the difference is going to be that you're going to achieve your goals. Abora Boye, Boshishe.